Hang on. Go.
This is Group 2, Problem 53, Section 3.5. What we're asked here to do is find the vertical asymptote, horizontal slant, x-intercept, y-intercept, and if there's any symmetry, then we got to graph it. First thing we do is when we're looking for the vertical asymptote, we look to see what we can plug into the denominator that will make it 0. And what we get there, we take 0 equals x minus 1, add 1 to each side, so x equals 1. So our vertical asymptote is x equals 1. When we're doing our horizontal asymptote, we just take the coefficient. Since our variables have the same power with the exponent, we just take their coefficients 1 over 1. So y equals 1 over 1 equals 1. So our horizontal asymptote is equal to 1. With a slant asymptote, you would look to see that your variables, your numerator variable would be 1 greater than the variable of the denominator. Since we don't have that, there is no slant asymptote. For the x and y intercept, we set for the x-intercept, we set y to 0. So 0 equals x over x minus 1. When we're dealing with fractions, in order to make a fraction equal to 0, all we got to do is plug in a 0 into the numerator, and that'll make the entire fraction 0. So 0 equals 0. So we put that over here. We have 0 in for our y. We got 0 out for our x. And since both of them are 0, we can do the same for our x and our y intercepts. Then we have to check for symmetry. Checking for symmetry, we take the original equation and plug in negative x for x. And we check to see that once we work it out, if it's equal to the original, then it's symmetrical. If it's not, then it's not. There's no symmetry. So negative x over negative x minus 1, this will give you, well, you can just leave it like that and see already that it isn't the same as this. But if you work that out, since it's negative over negative, we have a positive x. X plus 1 does not match this. No symmetry. To graph this, we would put our x and y intercepts, which is at the origin. Our vertical asymptote was 1, so we put a dashed line at 1. Our horizontal asymptote was 1. We have a dashed line at 1. Since this is at the origin, it'll go off in this direction. So then we want to find another point on the graph in order to find the other curve. So I like to plug in 2. So I plug in 2 into x over x minus 1, and that'll give you 2 over 2 minus 1, which will equal 2 over 1, which equals 2. So my next point is going to be 2, 2, which would be right about there. So our graph will look like that. It's important to remember that when you have your asymptotes, you can never cross the vertical asymptote. You can cross the horizontal, but you cannot touch it. And that's problem 53.